how is the tendency of the rate of profit to fall? This is something pointed out by Marx. The end of capitalism. It isn't the end of capitalism. It is something that makes capitalism less stable, I guess you could say. But when the time has come where economy with private property doesn't make sense anymore in this future, the rich are still rich and the poor are still poor. So how does that actually stop it? It doesn't. I don't know why you're trying to attribute the position that it stops it to me or anyone else. I don't see anyone else making that argument. What it means is that capitalism becomes increasingly unstable. However, as we've said every single time this topic has come up, it does not end on its own. No matter, it can get so weak that a mere breeze could blow it over, but you've still got to muster up that breeze. You know what I mean? And the reality is what capitalism does is as it becomes more internally weak, as it lacks that inner strength of the growth and all of that, it becomes more outwardly, militarized, brittle, fascistic. And that's what we're going to see from now until the end of capitalism. Some of the revisionist predictions, like from Browder, like from Khrushchev, were that we went through World War II, the capitalists have kind of seen that, fighting for capitalism is just bringing lots of war and fascism, and so they're going to back off and they're going to play nice. That's not at all what they did. They actually doubled down and they just came up with fascism in new forms. They, read like the Jakarta method for how peaceable they were towards the Indonesian communists and so on. So, no, capitalism, as it goes into further decay and decline, is going to use fascism more and more to try to organize society, just more and more brute force, because there's going to be obviously less in it for more and more people to support this, but they are trying to protect their profits and their status above society as the ruling class. So they're going to become more and more violent, and that's what you can expect from the end of capitalism. There are also, although the tendency of the rate of profit to fall over time is inexorable. It cannot be alleviated. There are short-term ways that capital can try to squeeze extra profit. So it's like the rate of profit from one year to the next goes down, or from one decade to the next goes down. They see that. They can still keep profits up through extra intensity of exploitation. So they come up with new ways to squeeze people. That's what I mean. It becomes more violent, more fascistic, and just more brutal and repressive generally. So it doesn't automatically end. It will try to preserve itself as long as it can by sheer force. That's what it will do. And what does happen is this sharpening class contradiction can lead to riper and riper opportunities for agitation, education, and organization. So, as those antagonisms come into sharper relief and are more and more obvious, just like after '08, just like is probably about to happen now, more and more people are like, hey, this, it's like an earthquake. You take the ground for granted until it shifts under your feet. And then you're like, holy fuck, I took the ground for granted, but that fucker moved, That shit just moved under my feet. Wow, the ground is a real thing and we're just on a spinning ball of dirt. And the same thing happens with the economic system, where people are like, I guess this thing isn't so stable. I guess it's not just it's just there. I can't just take it for granted. We actually have to discuss this thing. And you see, there have been huge opportunities. We wouldn't be having this discussion right now. There wouldn't be enough interest in socialism and capitalism if it wasn't for like 2008 and all the stuff that happened after that. So, I mean, that keeps going. And it always takes a proletarian revolution in the end. But as far as the strength of the proletarian organization to find enough weaknesses, to find enough weak spots in the system, that may be a function, I think, at this point of, obviously like mid-20th century U.S. capitalism was pretty hard to knock down, but mid-21st century U.S. capitalism, if we make it that long environmentally, may not be so hard to knock down. You know what I mean? Hopefully that answers the question. But no, it doesn't end on its own. It always takes a revolution. The question is, like, when can you actually organize such a revolution? And it's always a question of relative strength between the working class and the ruling class.